Bad luck, man, for Noni Madueke as he is out for 2 months, man, with a knee injury. This is a bad one because let's be honest, man. Noni Madueke has been a breath of fresh air since he's got to Arsenal. Nothing short of a breath of fresh air, offering directness, offering intensity in his game, playing at a good level, offering options that Arsenal finally needed in this area of the pitch while Saka's been injured. And just as Saka gets back, Noni Madueke gets injured. And listen, we'll talk about Arsenal's options in that area because they do have more now. But for him, you got to be gutted for him. You got to be gutted for him. The good news is that, according to reports from David Ornstein, he's avoided an ACL, which is that's brilliant news. But he's still going to miss around about 2 months and obviously one international break as well. So a real gut wrencher for Noni Madueke, who's been a revelation since joining from Arsenal. That's for sure. And that's a bad one. In terms of options, though, this is where Arsenal come into their own. Now, look, there's two ways of looking at this. The first is that Arsenal are just unfortunate with injuries. Again, it's coming for them. Again, early in this season, they've had Odegaard out, who's still out. He's struggling with that shoulder injury, I believe. You've had Kai Havertz out. He's had to go tweak something that, needed a bit of surgery in his knee. You've had Saka out as well. And he's only just literally got back. It's been very... It's the fact that they've got this depth already this summer has been massive. It's been massive because if they didn't have it already, they would have been back to where they were last season, which was why all Arsenal fans were 100% right. Not even just Arsenal fans, any neutral fan could see that Arsenal were crying out for quality in depth. Do you know what I'm saying? So that when there isn't these massive drop-offs when these players are out, if you look at how they can solve this problem, well, Martinelli going back to sort of being an impact player, I think has been the best thing for him. The best thing for him. That is what Martinelli's squad role should be. In off the bench, last 20 minutes of the game, fullbacks don't really want to see him. He's a willing runner. He's going to get in behind. Tired legs, tired minds. Perfect sub. Perfect sub. Or finishers, as people want to call it, but I don't get involved in that. Perfect sub. And, look how he scored his goal against Man City on the weekend. That was from the right-hand side, running from right to left, in behind. Last season he was used on the right-hand side a couple times, so that he can fill in there. Obviously, the main one is Saka's back. Saka's back, so that's a positive. So Saka should be able to start. However, what you don't want to do is overload Saka now, where he's just got back from his own hamstring injury, which he's picking up quite a few of them, even though it's not the same hamstring as last year. But he's picking up a few more injuries, more than he used to. So you don't want at the first calling of him being back, you got to play every game 90 minutes. Then Arsenal just going to be back to square one. Here's where Max Dalman gets involved. Do you know what I'm saying? Here's where, he's played against Leeds? I want to say Liverpool. He come off the bench against Leeds and Liverpool, didn't he? In short cameos. Come off the bench against Leeds, won the pen. A lot more difficult against when he came off the bench against Liverpool. But the manager showed that he trusts him at Premier League level. So can those minutes now look like, Saka starting the game with Max Dalman coming on for 20 minutes, or Saka starting the game and Martinelli starting on the coming in on the right, or the next game's against Port Vale, innit? They got in the Carabao Cup, no need to even play Saka, just start Martinelli on the right, Trossard on the left, or Eze should be starting. But then you look at the absence in midfield of Martin Odegaard. Why isn't Eze playing centrally? Mikel Merino now is going to have to be backup striker because there's the only recognised striker is still only Victor Gyökeres, so if anything happens to him, or he needs a rest as well, then he's going to have to be rested as well. But the main thing is that Arsenal got options. This Arsenal team got options, man. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think the biggest criticism that's been labelled at Arsenal is basically Arteta, is that he's the one who's playing with the handbrake on. He's the one who probably isn't letting them loose, isn't letting them off the leash where they can go and express themselves, because they've got talented football players. Very talented football players. But the strength in depth is now where we were seeing it straight away. This isn't even new news. When Odegaard and Saka were already injured, we already saw these guys coming in. You know what I mean? Kai Havertz, again, injured at the start of the season. We'd already seen this. So the depth has been something that's been brilliant. This is more of a sickener more for Noni Madueke, because he's been really good. Now, listen, my pushback was, let's not do this. Saka's going to have a hard time winning his place back and all of this stuff. Like, I never saw it as that. But this transition is where it's bit more. I don't know, it's a bit more sad, isn't it? Because Madueke's playing really well and hasn't had a chance to be fit when Saka's fit. So now it's a crossover where Saka's just going to take the baton back, and then you'd expect it to go back to normal. And then what does it look like in 2 months' time? What does it look like in 2 months' time for Noni Madueke if Saka's doing what Saka does every year, which is be consistent and be a top player? So the right hand side's locked down. Let's say they get more settled out on the left, so Eze settles down and gets his timing better, and he's still learning from his teammates about how to play out there on the left in this team. So I don't think that Odegaard's going to be removed from central midfield or the 10, or right 8, whatever you want to call it. I don't think he is. I think we're always going to see that Zubimendi and Rice in there. So Odegaard's not going to get dropped. So for me, Eze's a left winger at Arsenal for most of the time. So what does that look like for Noni Madueke if Eze's playing really well? It looks like back to what, which is not a problem, by the way. It's a good problem to have, but it looks like back to what he was there to do, which is just provide competition for some of the main guys, when actually his performances have warranted him sort of continuing in this extended stay. And actually, I think, did Madueke come off at half-time for Saka? I believe he did. But that would show clearly it wasn't even that, Madueke wasn't doing what he was supposed to do, and right, Saka's back now, dashing him out. He's obviously sustained quite a serious injury. He's going to be out for 2 months. So, look, what we know is Arsenal got enough to deal with this. They do. Like I said, and Ethan Wanyera, anyone spoke about him, he can play from the right. But again, he can play centrally. That's probably where he wants to play more, in that Odegaard position while he's out. So all I'm seeing is just options from Arsenal. Options. The revitalising of Martinelli has come at the perfect time, and you gotta give Arteta credit for that, because I think there was too much reliance on him as a left winger. That's not the guy you want to be basing your team around when the stakes are as high as they are for this Arsenal team, where they're going for the league against this Liverpool team. I don't think Martinelli's going to do that. But when his confidence is up and you use him as an impact player, perfect. But trying to have him for, 38 games starting left winger and then bringing him off in the last 15, 20 minutes of games, for me, Arsenal ain't going to win a league like that. It's players like Eze that are going to help you do it. And who knows, maybe even someone like Madueke when he gets back. So they got the squad to deal with this. Thank God for Arsenal fans, and thank God for Arsenal. They invested heavily in the summer for this reason. You know what I mean? Arsenal season literally went to shit last year because of this. The injuries happened and they weren't able to deal with it. And now they can. So it's a sad one for Noni Madueke on a personal, because it just shows you how cruel football can be. He's playing game in, game out. He's been a breath of fresh air. Everything's going well. Bang. Gonna be out of the Arsenal team and the England team now for the next couple of months, which is a sickener. But listen, he's clearly got a strong mentality. There was people signing 5,000 or 10,000, however much it was, signing petitions for this guy not to play for Arsenal, and he's not let any of that affect him, and look how good he's been. So if he can do that, he can definitely come back from this knee injury and pick up where he left off, given the opportunities. So yeah, big up Noni Madueke. And also, let's see how Arsenal deal with this. Max Dowman, his time. Martinelli, his time. Let's see. Take care. I'm out of here, man. Smash a like on the video. I'm gone. Peace.